Hello, everybody.
Good
Well,
morning.
yes,
Or shall I say
welcome.
you're on the East Coast, right? Or Central Standard Time.
We're Central. We are at 1 o'clock. What time are you right now?
It is 11 a.m. in sunny California.
Oh, I wish it's sunny here. I can at least say that, but it is very snowy and very icy. Very, very icy.
I know. I'm going to be in the sun.
Oh, that sunshine sounds really good. Oh, well, I want to welcome you. So today, if you guys are joining us, we have Jacob Bustos here with telling his own story, his own weight loss story. And also we have a big conference coming up. It's called the WLSFA Conference. And we're going to talk about that because not just, I feel like too, not just the conference itself, but what it stands behind and why they do this big project every year. So there may be people on the call that might be able to be a part of that, or behind the scenes, maybe it may have some interest in some being a grant recipient. You never know, or for maybe helping on some other end. So we'll be talking about that. And we're also joining on Facebook. So what I'm gonna be doing is here in just a moment, I'm going to turn the stage over to Jacob. And he's going to kind of start talking a little bit. I'm going to mute myself because I'm going to get on our Facebook page and make sure everything went live well there. If you guys, there's the chat feature here. I want to say hello. It looks like if you have any questions or any comments, you're welcome to use the chat feature. And then we also have on Facebook the chat as well. So feel free to comment as well. And for those of you who are joining maybe for the very first time, my name is Brenda. I'm a nurse who works with ProCare Health. We have been doing these events now for about 2 years. Last year, we actually had Laura, who is part of the admin team of WLSFA. So anyways, just welcome. I'm going to put myself on mute, Jacob. I'm going to let you do more formal introduction while I kind of log on to Facebook.
Sure. So WLSFA, it's a mouthful, right? It's a long kind of title for our foundation, but WLSFA stands for Weight Loss Surgery Foundation of America. And we are the only nonprofit organization that grants people the ability to go and have weight loss surgery if they qualify for the grant. And it's unique in that we're the only ones that do that. Number one. Number two, we really do vet all the candidates who apply for this grant, so we know for sure that the people that are applying for this grant they absolutely need this grant. And so I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. I started my bariatric journey, about 10, maybe 11 years ago now. And I was just an ordinary guy who was very overweight. I weighed 320 pounds. I'm sorry. I was 320 at my highest weight. I went to my doctor and I said, "Hey, I think I need help. I cannot keep going down this path. I need help." I had high blood pressure. I had high cholesterol. I was pre-diabetic. And so my doctor was really unwilling to, at that time, my doctor was unwilling to really help me move forward in any sort of bariatric journey. And so what happened was, luckily through my work, they changed insurance companies, and I was able to at that time get Kaiser Permanente, which was phenomenal, by the way. And I was able to go and see a bariatric surgeon at Kaiser Permanente, and he said, yes, we could do a surgery. You need to lose about 15 pounds before we could do that. And lo and behold, I had my bariatric procedure, and it was absolutely life-changing. It's something that, I've been asked quite a few times if it's something that I would do again. And over and over and over again, I would 100% say, yes, I would do it again. So I went from a high of 320 pounds down to a low of 160 pounds. And some people might say, gosh, 160, that's pretty light. That's you lost a lot of weight. I literally lost half of myself. So I was half the man I used to be. but you know what? The truth is that, it's a journey, right? I went from 320 to 165 or 55. And I've kind of gone up a little bit to like 190. Sometimes I've gone back down to 180. So it's really been kind of up and down. Um, and one day I was in Orange County, California. I was at a hotel, and believe it or not, I was there for a Grand Cook conference. I wasn't even there for a weight loss conference. But after having my procedure, I saw all these people from WLSFA, and I actually met with one of the board members. I had no idea she was a board member. I was completely coincidental. And I said, "Hey, what is that WLSFA? Because I'm a weight loss surgery patient." And so she started telling me all about the what their mission was, what their goals were, and what they stood for. And so I went to the first conference, and I started just kind of seeing who was there and what it was all about. And let me tell you, Brenda, I was the guy at the very beginning of my journey who I said, I will never need a support system. I will never need a support group. I was that guy. I was the guy who said I never needed any of that. And after going to my first weight loss surgery conference, I realized these people speak the same language I do. They're talking about the same things that I've gone through. They are experiencing the same things. Their bodies are changing just like mine did. And it was, for me, it was eye-opening. And truth be told, like, the conference is awesome. We do a great job putting on this conference, but the relationships is what brings people back to our conference. So that's a little bit about me. I did write a book. It's called When Food Is Your Frenemy, which can be, purchased on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, all that stuff. And I had zero intention of writing a book. I didn't even think about that at the beginning of my journey. But what happened is that I went in about 6 years ago for skin removal surgery. So, 320 down to 160, 155, around there. There's a lot of loose skin, and it's not appealing, and it's not, you just feel like, you got to get rid of it. And so I did. I went to go have a tummy tuck, skin removal, get all the excess skin off. And in the process, I basically died. And so there was a lot of, obviously there's a whole backstory to a lot of that, but really in that whole procedure, that's, I ended up talking to my creator, and, whether people have faith or no faith, or whether people believe or don't believe, that's really up to them. And I don't chastise or, say, believe you should believe this or you shouldn't believe that. But at that point, I really thought about, gosh, I should tell my story. I should write a book, because there are a lot of people out there, Brenda, that are suffering from, obesity. And if you saw, I don't know if you saw lately, a couple of different, weight loss groups put together a letter, and it really talks about how this is an epidemic, how it talks about how this is not something that, there are certain people that cannot control this on their own. I mean, they really need the help of bariatric surgery, or they need the help of their doctors. And Weight Loss Surgery Foundation of America, we are, we're also kind of joining the pack and saying, it is a bigger issue. It is something that's going on inherently, that, people are just gaining a bunch of weight, and it's, sometimes it's not their fault. So that's a little bit about me. I'm a little long-winded. So
no, I feel like it's all of that is so interesting and so intriguing. Whenever we first connected, I kind of went on and I was reading some of your information, and you had spoken at Obesity Help before, and I was reading that bio, and I heard a little bit in that bio of what you just said, and I was like, oh, I hope he talks about that, because that's so interesting. I mean, what do you think you learned through that? I mean, I'm very interested in that, because, whenever you get to the point where you actually have a new lease on life, I'm sure that there was some emotions and stuff that came up with that, because that was a pretty major ordeal that you must have went through, being that you died, and then you came back, and then you had this whole experience that kind of along with it. Tell us what you learned through that, because maybe some of us who have not had that can learn from that.
Yeah, I'm gonna again, I'm a little long-winded. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna give you kind of a backstory.
It's
We have a
okay.
we have a board member. His name is Bill Streetman. If anybody knows Bill Streetman, he is an amazing human being. He's lost a ton of weight. He does bike rides, and I'm not talking like from here to the park. It's like 500 and 600 mile bike rides. The guy is just such an inspiration. And we who have had bariatric surgery, we are often told, "Oh, well, you took the easy way out." And for us who have bariatric surgery, a lot of us kind of feel bad, and we're like, "Yeah, we kind of did." And Bill really kind of opened my eyes one day and said, "You know what? Yeah, I did take the easy way out. That was the easiest way for me to get healthy." And I thought to myself, wow, what a, that's true, because we don't want people to think we took the easy way out. But if that was the easiest way for us to get healthy, then so be it. Um, and really the backstory for me is that, after going through what I did, um, I don't know, I just felt like I needed to tell my story. I felt like, there's a lot of people out there that are overweight, and there's such a stigma about being overweight. And I'll give you an example. I work for a restaurant company. I'm an executive for a restaurant group. Um, and we had an investor in our restaurant group. This was quite a few years ago, when I was still pretty heavy. And he came to visit, he and his wife, and I offered them breakfast. And he said, "Well, I don't want breakfast. I've always been a very hospitable guy." And I said, "No, no, 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 please let me get you some breakfast." And I was met with, "Well, I don't want to look like you." And so, ouch, that stung, right? And so every part of my journey, like there's been so many different aspects of my journey that I look at and I'm like, why did this happen? How did this happen? Even just looking at, how did I get to 320 pounds? I I walked up to the door of one of our restaurants because I work for restaurants, and the day that I looked at myself, which I'd seen myself a million times, but there was one specific day that I looked at myself in the mirror in the door, and I could see the reflection of myself, and I wondered how in the world did I allow myself to become this heavy. And so, going through what I did, again, I would never say anything negative about bariatric surgery. I think if people need it, they should absolutely go get it. Um, and the skin removal for me, that was probably the toughest part of my journey because, like I said, I did go through a period there where it wasn't good. I died basically on the table because I started bleeding out. Um, and I would just say that my journey is not unique. There's a lot of people out there that go through weight loss surgery that have complications. It's not an easy process to go through. It's something that you really have to think about going through. But I will tell you, um, being a part of the Weight Loss Surgery Foundation it's just been such a huge blessing for me because the people that I've met have been incredible. The support system is incredible. Um, and so when it's time to go to these conferences, it's like very exciting because you get to see people you haven't seen in a year. And it's really great to be able to share our experiences.
I feel like too, being able to connect with other people, what it does is it's almost like it allows allows you to feel understood, feel like that because sometimes it's kind of isolating if you don't have a big community around you. You don't have people that maybe understand. Whenever I had weight loss surgery, which was back in 2012-13, I mean, I was working actually for a weight loss surgery program. I was coordinator, and that in itself was such an amazing thing because I got to see all these people that were going through it and kind of be part of their journey. But then also they helped me, like they really did. And one of the girls that I had, one of the girls that I worked with also had weight loss surgery right around the same time. And so we'd go to lunch together. We would, talk about different things that we were maybe struggling with. There's a lot of things that you kind of go through, the kinds of foods you can eat. Like if you get sick, like after we eat, sometimes we get feel a little nauseated because we overate, because you can't, sometimes you just don't know if that one bite's going to be too much. But there was a lot of things. So like when you get with community like this, I feel like it's a huge benefit. Tell us here too. So you kind of mentioned your book. Tell us about your book and maybe like I know you said that after your plastic surgery, that kind of led you into wanting to talk more about your journey. Tell us about what that book is. And maybe too, I think I have a link here I can share too, if anybody's interested in checking that out.
Oh yeah, JacobBustos.com. You can, the link to my book is on there. Or like I said, you can go to, you could just go to Amazon and look up When Food Is Your Frenemy. The title, believe it or not, my sister-in-law and I were just sitting down one day and we were just talking about my weight loss journey. And I said, it's just amazing how food is like our best friend. And then at so many different times in our life, it's like our biggest enemy. And we were like, when food is your frenemy, like that's a great title. And so for me, writing this book was really, I never planned on making a whole bunch of money on this. I never planned on writing this because I thought I knew everything about weight loss surgery. But, I really, after my journey with Roux-en-Y and then having the skin removal, I really thought it was important for people to understand what we go through. You mentioned that going to these conferences or meeting with people that have had the same thing that you have, there's some crazy things that we go through. And I'll give you a very embarrassing example, but passing gas after you have weight loss surgery, it's not the same. It's not the same as a normal system. And just being able to talk about that with other weight loss patients is like incredible, right? It's like, wow, you go through that too? Oh wow, yeah, I go through that too. And so for me, writing a book was really just I wanted to share with people my journey through weight loss surgery. And there's a stigma about it that you took the easy way out, or that it's really not, it's I don't know why you did that. And it is dramatic, right? You literally, like, I went for the gastric bypass and I literally had half my stomach cut out. If you go through the lap band, you're literally having a band placed around your tummy, your stomach. Or if you do the sleeve, you're cutting half your stomach out. So it is dramatic. And I think for me, that's why I wanted to write a book, is for people to understand that, it's a journey. And there's people, I tried for years to lose weight, and it was never easy. There was never an easy way to do it. I tried exercise, I tried diet, I tried all sorts of stuff. And part of what I realized doing my book was that this whole generation, my great grandmother, I was very lucky to grow up in a time where I knew my great grandmother. And my great grandmother lived to be 92 years old. She was healthy. She never had health issues. And let me tell you what, they ate the worst stuff. Every morning, my great grandparents would eat, fried eggs with bacon and fresh homemade tortillas. And I think what I realized during the process of writing my book, because I did some research on just different things, is that our generation, I'm 45 years old, our generation, we had fast food. We had foods and meats pumped with hormones and all this, not good stuff for us. Whereas my great grandmother's generation never had that. They killed a pig and ate the bacon from the pig that they raised. So it's different. It's not as bad as the bacon we're eating today, because the bacon we're eating today has all this bad stuff pumped into it. So for me, honestly, Brenda, I really just wanted to write the book so that people can understand what my perspective was. And it's great because everyone that I know has a complete different story with their bariatric journey. Everyone. No one has the exact same journey. So I think it's important for people to understand, like, it's not an easy decision. I went through a period of time after my bariatric surgery. I think at that time I had lost maybe 100 and maybe 110 pounds. And I stood in front of the mirror one day and I started crying. And that also, you have to understand, I'm not a very emotional person. I was crying, and I realized that I was going through a mourning stage, and I was literally mourning losing the old me. So again, that's also in the book. It's just, there's a lot of different stages, a lot of different things that people go through in this process that you don't even realize you're going to go through. when you embark on it.
I think that people who are either pre-op right now or post-op, whatever part of their journey. I mean, there's probably people on this call that are, just out of surgery. There may be people on this call that are 5 years, 10 years down the road. What year was your surgery, Jacob?
It was 10 years ago, so 2012, 2012. Yeah.
That's the year I had my surgery too.
No way.
Yeah.
Yay, we're twins.
Yeah, we are. I feel like that just listening to other people sometimes can resonate and just help us. And maybe each day is a little different. Tamia says, I'm post-op just out yesterday. See if anybody else wants to comment. Comment either on Facebook or on here on our ProCare Crowdcast channel. Let us know, where you're at with your own journey, because it kind of helps us know what to talk. There is someone on Facebook that commented, and her name was Violet. She said she had surgery in 2008 and then again in 2012, and she's having a hard time getting her weight back down. Her highest weight was 321. Her lowest was 140, and now she's back up to 185. But, I feel like for a lot of people, it can kind of wax and wane a little bit. It can be a lifelong journey, for those who have the surgery. The surgery is basically, it's just a tool, however that looks for you. Some people, like you were talking about the easy way out or not easy way out, it's all a matter of perspective. To me, it was a tool, a very, very helpful tool to help and to help keep the weight off. Even if, what I want to just say to encourage people like Violet or people who may be also having some of that, where they kind of maybe got down to a certain point, because I think we all struggle with it, myself included. My weight has kind of stayed pretty much the same for the last probably 3, 4, maybe even 5 years. But I am higher than I was whenever I was at my lowest point. And so I think for everybody that sway can kind of happen. And maybe sometimes, I almost think sometimes it's a matter of where your body is happiest at. Like you may not realize it or recognize it, but your body has a happy point. And, sometimes we have this preconception of where we should be because society tells us we need to be a certain place. But, if you're pretty healthy otherwise, maybe it's,
What I actually
about that.
I want to speak directly to Violet because I am going through the exact same thing. Like I said, I my lowest weight was 155. And okay, let me set the record straight. I had almost everyone in my family and friends say, gosh, you just look too thin. You don't look healthy. But I'll tell you something. I felt amazing. My energy level was ridiculous. I mean, I could wake up at 4 a.m. and bounce off the walls and run around the street. And so I know that I didn't look great. But Violet, I actually went up to like 195. And I have people saying, "Oh, you look so much better. You look so much better. It's you're not as thin, you're not as skinny, but I don't feel as good as I did." So I think for people like myself, for people like Violet, we just have to understand, like you said, Brenda, it is a journey and it's a roller coaster. Can I eat more today than I did 10 years ago? Absolutely, I can eat more. Does it scare me? Yep, it scares me. I every time I sit down to eat, I'm like, is this gonna pack on an extra pound? Is this gonna, it's scary, because what we've gone through, like I said before, it is dramatic. Like not everybody goes through a procedure where they're literally cutting half their stomach off. And so it is scary when you start gaining weight and you think, oh my gosh, am I gonna gain more weight? Am I gonna get back to where I was before my bariatric surgery? And I think you kind of said it, Brenda, which is, it is a tool. I mean, we're always going to be a little up and down. We may not always be at our lowest weight for forever, but I think what I struggle with is being happy with where I'm at. I'm really not happy where I'm at. I would like to be back down to maybe 175. And you also said your body kind of tells you where you should be. And I felt my best when I was 175. And for some other people, they feel their best when they're 205. But I would just say, again, especially to people like Violet, hang in there, and we just have to remember what our little tool is all about, how to, we did it at some point, we lost the weight somehow. And if we go back to those habits, like drinking protein first thing in the morning and really, really, really bringing down portion sizes, you can get back to where you need to be. It is scary.
I think you brought up a good point. You were talking about habits, and I kind of part of what I do with ProCare Health, which is our sponsor today, is I do a lot of support groups. And one of those that we've been doing a lot as of this month, January, and now we're going into February, is habits. And, you can't always control what you want to control. One of those things being maybe the pounds on your scale. You can't always make it happen. I want to say make it happen, but you can control the things that you do, the choices you make, and the things you do to bring about the change. So, tracking those habits can be a big help. There's a couple comments I just want to say too. Kathy says, as you age, you need a few more pounds than when you're younger, but finding the weight is not really the main focus. It's how you feel. And really happiness is the main key of a factor. Linda says, and I worry so much about stretching my stomach back out. That scares me. And Carrie says, me too. And then we have a couple comments on Facebook as well. Violet says, when I go to the doctor's seminars and speak in front of groups, no one knows how and what we've been through. Until they've walked in our shoes. It's an everyday struggle. And like you both said, everybody, this is why we did it, because we see the nightmares every day in the mirror. And Janine says, I feel the same. Everybody is not the same, and each body has a set point or happy place. So there's a lot of people that kind of feel the same way. Brittany says, yes, I'm with Linda. I'm 1 month post-op and down 30 pounds. My biggest fear is stretching my stomach out, and I didn't realize how worried I'd be. I think part of it is not just like stretching out our stomachs. It's about being at a place that we were at before surgery and feeling those same emotions, feeling that same all those physical attributes. Would you going to say something about that?
Yeah, I would say I see quite a few people on this chat. I would ask you all to go to WLSFA.org and just check out our conference. It's going to be in New Orleans this year, which is, fun in itself. But I'll tell you, there is not one single person on here that worries about something different than what I did or than what you did. We all worry about stretching out our stomach again. We all worry about, oh my gosh, am I going to get back to where I was, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, or whatever. And we all probably remember when we first lost all this weight. We all probably remember all the compliments we got, right? Everybody was saying, oh my gosh, you look great. You look wonderful. And there's also a piece of us that's like, oh my gosh, if they see that I've gained weight, I'm going to be so embarrassed. I'm going to be shamed. I'm going to be shamed that I gained my weight back. And when you go to our conference, you'll realize there is a lot of people in the same boat that we're in. And whether you're like me or not, whether you think you need a support group or not, even just going and talking to people that are there, you understand, hey, I'm going to make a new friend. We can help each other through this. They're going to call me and kind of keep me in check, or I'm going to call them and keep them in check. And I would just say, going to a conference like our conference, it is awesome because you get to be with people that have gone through what you have. But the most important thing is, there are people out there that need bariatric surgery that cannot afford it. They cannot figure out how to do it. Their insurance doesn't cover them. And we are, I said it at the beginning of the program, we are the only nonprofit organization that offers grants. And there's a lot of great organizations out there, right? There's, OAC, there's all sorts of different wonderful, wonderful groups out there and what they do. I can never say anything negative about it. But when we're able to help somebody else out that needs what we went through, it's rewarding. It's nice to be able to do that. And ProCare now has been just a phenomenal partner with us too. but it is rewarding to be able to help somebody else out and understand. I went through my surgery 10 years ago. I did it through Kaiser. I was probably, I would say, one of the lucky ones. My bariatric surgery was $50,000, and Kaiser covered it 100%. And so for other people, they're not as lucky as me. They don't have the coverage of insurance that I have, or they don't have the resources. And so, I just think weight is such a personal thing. I mean, and it's hard to talk about it. It's hard to deal with. If you gain 10 pounds, you just feel weird. You feel bad. You feel like, oh my gosh, I'm the worst person ever. But if we can all come together and talk through what we all deal with, it's unique in that only a certain amount of people are dealing with that.
Absolutely. There's a couple comments kind of coming in that I'm just going to read, and we're going to segue over. I'm going to actually share my screen, Jacob, and we're going to go to the WLSFA website.
Okay.
I want to show some of the grant recipients because there's pictures on there of the grant recipients. We can kind of talk through those, and then we're going to talk about how people can apply and like why we do that. Then kind of just segue right into the conference itself, kind of talk people about that. So Michelle says, my understanding is not easy to stretch out your stomach, but it is possible to return to old habits of choosing foods that don't support us. And Carrie said, I had surgery last May and I can definitely eat more than a few months after the surgery. Deborah says, I'm 3 months post-op and still having a problem getting my fluids down. So everybody's at different stages, I'd say, in their journey. What I can say is I know the surgeon that I worked with, before I worked with ProCare, used to say, it's very unlikely that you'll stretch your stomach out all the way back to the normal size. It's still a lifelong tool regardless. But the thing that you can change, the thing that, as far as being able to, because when you first have surgery, you not only have the surgery, but you have the swelling from the surgery, and you, that amount of restriction is probably pretty strong for the first, I'd say 6 months to a year. That restriction kind of can go down a little bit, but you're still going to have restriction. Even now, I don't know about you, Jacob. We're both the same. We're 10 years out. I still have restriction. Like I know I have limits. I don't know. I mean, surgery still works.
For me, it depends on the day. There are some days that I can eat and I'm just like, oh my gosh, how was I able to eat that much? And then there's days that I just, I'll take 2 or 3 bites of something and I'm just kind of like, I've had enough. But I'm looking at the comments just like you are, Brenda, and I just, I have such an empathy for every single person that's writing these comments because, you do go through that scare period of time where you're like, oh my gosh, can I stretch this out? And just like you said, most doctors will tell you it's not really likely that you can re-stretch out your stomach to as big as it used to be. But, there's going to come a point where you can eat more and you're going to say, gosh, how was I able to eat that much? And, I haven't been able to eat that much for such a long time. But I would encourage, like I said, and I guess I'm a little bit biased because I'm on the board of the Weight Loss Surgery Foundation, but I would say come and join us. It is really an awesome time to be able to have questions like what you're asking, Michelle, about stretching out your stomach. We have not only do we have, just regular people that have had bariatric surgery speak. We have bariatric doctors that speak. We have nurses that speak. We have, Connie Stapleton. I'm not sure if you guys know who she is, but an amazing resource with, what to do afterwards if you really need some help. And we have doctors like Dr. Carl Pesta, who's just, he gets on his Facebook page and he has a walk with Dr. Carl Pesta and people join him. We have Ern Vincent who joins us, who he created the lap band. And so there are a lot of resources to be able to ask questions, no matter what you've had. If you had Roux-en-Y, if you had lap band, if you had the sleeve, I promise you there is somebody for everybody at our conference. And it is in April 21st, 22nd, and ends on the 23rd. And we would love for people to join us.
Jacob, I'm going to share my screen at that point.
Okay.
Can you see this? Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen.
Okay. And so there's also, Janine says, attending in person. she said she attended her first patient conference alone, never meeting another attendee in person. She said, I left with an extended family. So, it's, even if you do come alone, there are, like everybody, there's a lot of people that do come by themselves. So I'm going to kind of start off when you first get to the WLSFA website, this is what you're going to see. Okay. And there's a place for donations, the blog, events. That's what we're going to be kind of sharing on. Here under grants, we're going to talk about grants, some of the grant recipients, sponsors. You can look here at the board, founder, all of that. But let's start here with grants. And I just want to say too, like last year, ProCare, we actually had an opportunity. I'm looking here. This actually talks about how to get more information about the grant process. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. But I am wanting to go to, I know I saw them on here, the actual the people who've received grants.
Oh, the grant recipients. That's to your right-hand side.
Okay, let's go to that first. And I'm just going to kind of share a few people. So these, basically, when you pop on here, there's over, would you say 30 people that's received grants now over the years?
I want to say we have done 33 grants, and it could be 34. It really depends on how much, what funds we have to be able to help. But I know for sure it's been over 30 people that we have definitely helped.
And these look like they're in, I don't know that they're in a specific order. So I'm just going to kind of like scroll down very, very shortly so you guys can see. So basically a grant, what it does is it basically helps specific people. You apply for it. It helps people who maybe don't have coverage through their insurance or don't have, a savings account to help pay for weight loss surgery. It helps them with being able to do weight loss surgery. Correct, Jacob?
Yeah, and I would say there's there's a lot of requirements because we are a nonprofit organization. There are some requirements. Certain applicants have to meet certain criteria. There has to also be some, and it's not a big financial obligation, but there is some financial obligation. But when people apply for this grant, we vet them, and we make 100% sure that it's people that really need this grant. And when we vet these individuals, we go through a process that everybody can feel really good about, that we have done our due diligence to make sure that they are ready for this and that they can move forward. And we do have people that, we have people that apply, and unfortunately, sometimes we have to say we can't do it. But for the most part, everybody that you see on that screen right there have all gone through this procedure. They've all gone through this process where we vetted them, and they've gone through their surgeries. And you can see there's a lot of success. Every single one has a before and after picture. And so you can see the success rates. And I would just say that, like I said, and I'll keep tooting our horn. We are the only nonprofit organization that does this to help other people. And in the process, when you attend our event, that's when you can get the benefit for yourself as well, whether it's meeting with other people that have had the same thing you have, or if you're almost ready to embark on this journey of going through bariatric surgery, there is somebody there for everybody. That's what's most amazing.
So basically, I kind of went from the grant recipients over here and last year, Brandon Moss was one of the ones that had received a grant, and we had the opportunity, ProCare did, to sponsor him to come to the event. So we actually helped him with getting to the event so that he could be a part of that, which was super exciting. Under this grant, so we're going to kind of go over here to this grants. If you're interested in learning more about what that includes, here is how you look at that. At this time, the WLSA is not awarding grants for skin removal, reconstructive plastic surgery, or bariatric revision. So just kind of make a little tidbit on that. And I'm going to kind of switch over. Is it okay if I share here under conference? Kind of switch over to that?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I think it's important too. We've had some partners along the way, just like ProCare. I would say we've had partners that have been side by side with us through thick and thin. We've had Bariatric Pal, we've had Being Healthy, we have Patch MD who's coming to our event, which for those of you that have issues getting your vitamins in, there's patches, B1 patches, or there's patches to help you sleep, or there's patches for your vitamins. So we're excited about stuff like that. We're excited. We have in the past we've had Dr. Katzen, who's from Beverly Hills. He's been at our events. I'm not sure he'll be there this year, but we've had lots and lots of professional doctors and plastic surgeons that join us. And so none of this is possible without our sponsors, but none of it is possible either without the people that come and join us and participate.
Yeah, I'm kind of just scrolling down under this events page. So I went up and I copied the link, which I'll be sharing here so that you guys can go directly to that. The event is in New Orleans. The registration for it is open. You can book your hotel, your tickets to attending. Here's a picture. This may be from last year. I'm not sure, but kind of a neat little picture.
I think that's a couple years ago. I think.
Is it?
What I'll tell you, Brenda, is that we did, during COVID, I think everything kind of got messed up, and we had a decent number of attendees last year, but with COVID, I think it's been a little bit difficult. This year, we seem to have a lot of interest, especially because I think it's in New Orleans. It's we also want to have fun, right? Where we can have a little fun, but I think people have just been sick and tired of being locked in and not being able to go to different events. So the interest that we have this year is just phenomenal. I think we are going to have an amazing event. But go online. There's places to book your hotels and tickets, and I think what I would say too is I went to my first conference not expecting a whole lot, and now what I understand is that whenever I pay money to go to one of these conferences, it's an investment in myself. It's an investment in me going and just kind of getting a new lease on, gosh, these people are going through the same thing I did. And it's really just a time for me to reconnect with a lot of old friends and see where they're at. I'm telling you that the thing that I've been struggling with now is regain 30 pounds. I've regained 30 pounds. And it is embarrassing, but it's also something that almost everybody else is going through. So yeah, it's fun to be able to go and talk to people that are going through the same thing that you are.
I'm like looking at some of it looks like Carrie said I had to sleep patches to help sleep. So she's asking that. And I'm actually going to go back to the site because I think there's going to be questions regarding where it's at and all of that. So yep. Go ahead and start answering that. And I'm going to go back to the site. I just wanted to share that link.
Yeah, there's I think I was talking about one of our sponsors, Patch MD. I love them. I used their patches for years, and it's really just a little square patch. If I had a chance to go run and get a couple, I would, but it's a square patch, and you just put it on your arm. Some of them, I think, or you can put on your hip. But if you don't like taking your vitamins, you can do vitamins through a patch. If you don't like taking B1 or B12, you can do that through a patch. But these are cool things that you learn when you are at an event like ours, is you learn that you can take different, there are other options for your vitamins than just taking vitamins. And like I said, some people love certain brands, some people love certain, certain marks, and we kind of offer it all. You can go and you can meet with people from different vitamin companies. Like I said, Patch MD is one of the nicest ones because you could literally just put a patch on. But again, if you go to our event, April 21st through 23rd, there's so many resources for you. It's not just, you're not just attending a conference that's boring and that you're sitting in a room. There's interaction. There's, food demonstrations. There are nurses who speak to this. There are peers who speak to what's going on. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Jacob, I'm going to press, if they go to the WLSFA website, this is what's going to bring them. So basically, you can get your tickets here. Price is $40 to $179. And the difference in prices is basically likely depending on whether or not you want to, I guess right now it's $179. It was probably based on when they purchased their tickets.
Yeah, we had an early bird. We had an early bird special, and I think that already ended. But we have the Stomp Out Obesity We also have Bike with Bill. I think I mentioned Bill Streetman earlier, who just, to me, he's one of my idols, because I think he lost something like 300 pounds or more. But he bikes from like city to city, and he does this 500-mile bikes. Well, he's at our event, and people can bike with Bill for it's $40 on there. We rent bikes, and we have a bike ride. And trust me, I hate exercising. It's not the funnest part of whatever I do, and Bill makes it so much fun. So that's why there's different prices, and you see the different price levels on there.
Yeah, and I think last year, I'm thinking maybe I may have participated in the 5K. It was so much fun. Like, you can walk or jog or do whatever. Everybody's pace is very much different, so you don't have to feel bad. It was my very first 5K. Never done a 5K before. I'm not a big, haven't really participated much, so that was kind of fun. There's also a place for donations for an event t-shirt as well. And then for booking the motel, if you kind of get back, let me go back to that other tab. At the hotel, let's see here. So it's going to be, it looks like at the Hilton.
The Hilton.
And, okay. And so it looks like that there is a way to do your check-in right here on this. And I believe there's probably a block out for so many rooms. So probably leading directly to the WLSFA link and block.
Yeah, and can I tell you, we there's quite a few of us on the board at WLSFA. We are all unpaid board members, and I think all of us are just happy to be able to be a resource and a support. But there's Laura Van Tile, who's our president. We have Cleo Savala, who does a lot of our finance stuff. We have Bill Streetman, who's on there. We have Brian Michaels, who's an expert at, he does all of our sound for our events. We have Sandy Henderson, who's been on our board for quite a while, and then myself. But, we really take time to pick a nice place. We don't want to pick a, terrible hotel. Like, we really take time to make sure we plan out our food. We plan out, we usually pick a nice hotel that has a great pool and spa, so that people can, because there is some downtime. We do offer breaks and downtime where people can go and do stuff on their own as well. So it's not just, like I said, sitting in a room in a conference. There's fun stuff to do too. So trust me, we don't pick any bad hotels. It's a great hotel.
And you know what? How can you go wrong with New Orleans? I mean, there's so much to do, so much fun. I'm going to kind of look. You mentioned some of these people, so I thought it would be fun just to kind of swing back over. I had stopped sharing my screen, and I thought I'm just going to go back to the site and kind of share some of the people you mentioned. So Laura Van Tool, who's the president and CEO, is she still president?
Yep, Laura Van Tile is our president. I think she's close to 20 years out from her gastric bypass. Sandy Henderson is the next person on there. She's been part of our board for many years, and she's attended all the weight loss surgery conferences. I think she's been there since the beginning, as has Cleo. But again, just such amazing resources. Every single one of us have been through this, so there's no one on our board that's never had this procedures. And so we can all speak to it. And so even Bill Streetman, Brian Michaels, I don't know if you saw his picture on there, but, Brian was a big guy. He was really big, and he had lots of issues, health issues, that if he didn't lose the weight, he would have, he wouldn't be here. And I think, the reality for most of us that are severely obese is that, we're cutting our life short. And so when we take some action to make a difference or make a change, there has to be a reward for us. Like, it's a great thing. I mentioned earlier that I'm nervous about regain, but I still look at myself and I think I'm still 120 pounds, lower than what I was at my highest weight. So I should be happy about that. I shouldn't be like down on myself because I gained 30 pounds.
Taking myself off mute. I was typing. Sometimes it gets distracting because people can hear the typing. But yeah, it's that is something I think sometimes we forget, is to look at our journey and to remember like where we are and where we've been, and to remember that it's not, even if we get kind of discouraged, there's always a place for a little bit of thankfulness and gratefulness with where we are too. I
I
mean,
went,
so, yeah, go ahead.
when I started my journey, I went. Kaiser required me to go to classes for, I think it was 6 weeks. And Kathy Hill just put a note on there. She said patches have their place, however, absorption is less, but for some they are life saving. And that's what you learn. You learn that, they used to tell me at Kaiser you need to take vitamin. I don't remember the brand, but they said you should drink this certain type of protein. Um, and it never worked for me. But then I found Premier Protein, and that's all I have ever drank for the last 10 years, and it's awesome. But for some other people, it doesn't work. Well, it's the same thing with vitamins, right? We have a lot of sponsors who are vitamin sponsors, um, and sometimes they don't work as well as what the patch does. And for some people, the patch doesn't work, and they'd rather take the pills. So, I think that's what you really, I think that's what you gain when you go and you meet with us or you talk to us, is that you'll find something that works for you. I can guarantee you that you will find something that works for you.
That's true. And I feel like as long as you're figuring it out for yourself, what you need and what is best for you is where it's about. Jacob, we're kind of coming up on time. So
Okay.
I am going to actually share once more. So to get more information, I'm going to go ahead and paste the WLSA website one more time. I'm going to paste your website one more time so that people have that. Let's
WLSFA.org. I know it's so long. It's so long.
yes, and tell us again what it stands for.
Weight Loss Surgery Foundation of America.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for doing that. So I have both of those websites. You can go to WLSFA.org to check out the conference, to look at, if you're interested in knowing more about the grant recipients, to know more about how you can be a part of that. And this conference, basically, we forgot to even talk about that. This conference is to help, and maybe we did, and I'm not remembering, but it is to help. It is not only to help raise awareness with all of this, but they're actually giving away. It's kind of the announcement time so it's a surprise, announcement time for the upcoming grant recipients. It's also a way to raise money for WLSFA, because they have to have a way to bring funds in to give these grants out to as well.
Yeah, the more money we raise, the more grants we can give out. And that's probably my favorite part of our conference, is the night that we do announce who the grant recipients are, because they're usually there in the audience. And last year it was just, it was such a blessing, because we had a guy named Jose who was one of the grant recipients. And he was just so thrilled, and he was so thankful that he was, one that was chosen. And we actually keep up with their journeys after the conference. And so if you go to our website, or if you go to our social media pages, you'll probably see pictures of Jose. I think he's lost something like 65 pounds or probably more. So it's actually, it's fun. It's nice to be able to keep up with these people and see how their journey has gone.
We had somebody on Facebook ask if this was recorded, and the answer to that is yes. So if you're just joining and you want to hear the whole episode, as soon as this event's over, it can be accessed on our Facebook page or a Crowdcast. And I'm going to actually, if you're not on Crowdcast already, for those on Facebook, I'm going to actually just paste a link for the replay. It will also be available on Facebook, because we always leave all of our recordings on there as well.
Yeah, and I just added my email address, jacob@WLSFA.org, because I am happy to answer any question. Like I mentioned, even when my book, I did not do that to make money. I know I'm not going to make money, publishing a book. However, I want to be a resource for other people that are going through the same thing that I did. So I put my email address on there. Any questions at all, I'm happy to answer any questions. If somebody can't afford my book, I'm happy to send it to them for free. But yeah, my email is on there.
Oh, thank you, Jacob. I'm excited taking a look at it too. I haven't really got to go in and page through it and look at it too. I'm gonna have to order it myself. I am also we're kind of getting towards the end. I'm gonna actually share what we've been doing at the end of these events is sharing with Procure Health being our sponsor. Procure Health is a bariatric vitamin and supplement company, and we've talked a lot about vitamins on this. What we have is we've been trying to just kind of share any kind of new things going on. Right now with ProCare, I'm going to share my screen. We actually have a, whoops, I didn't mean to take my camera off.
That's okay.
I meant to press share screen.
They still get to look at you. Don't worry.
Oh, goodness. Okay. You should be able to say, so we actually just came out with a new calcium citrate regimen. And so I am going to click onto that. And we actually, so most of our products we have are made with something called TrueCal. Some people are really just calcium citrate lovers. So if you're one of those people who are more preferable to calcium citrate rather than TrueCal, our calcium citrate, we recently just updated our formulation. Super excited about it because it has fewer capsules per serving, 2 instead of 3. And it has a lower cost than the previous formula. Before we were using a supplement company called Now. We're actually formulated our own calcium citrate, and it has a higher dose of calcium. So instead of 450 milligrams per dosage, it's 600. So if you're one of those people who takes 1,200 milligrams a day, it would be 2 capsules twice a day. If that's how you want to take it, or you could take all 4. If you're one of those people who want to kind of get it all out at one time. And I'm going to kind of minus my screen, and I'm going to kind of go up to our website and show on our website. I'll copy this. Our calcium products are listed under this first tab here. And when you click calcium supplements, it'll bring you down, and it's listed right here under calcium supplements. It is, I'm going to click on the price here. It is right now on special for $20.99 for a 240 count bottle. So depending on what dosages you're taking, that's going to last some time. If you're taking 4 tablets a day, let's see, 240 divided by 4.
60.
Yes, 60. So this will last 2 months. So very, very great option for those of you who are looking to save some money too as well.
So ProCare, there's certain vitamins on ProCare that I do better with. But that's the beauty of going to any of these conferences, right? Especially ours, is that you get free samples. I mean, everybody's willing to give out the samples, right? And if you take them and like them, there's ways to order it. But there's a lot of times that people go and they'll taste certain samples of different things like calcium chews or, some. And like for me, I've tried calcium chews and I don't like them. I actually like the ProCare vitamins better, the calcium. So it is, everybody's a little different. But I promise you, you'll find something that works for you. And I love the samples. Give me some samples.
Well, and that's you got a great point. When you go to these, when you go to any kind of these events where I'm going to call them patient-based events, where there's all kinds of other people just like you. There's a lot of times there's vendors. ProCare Health will be there, so I get to see Jacob in person. I'm excited about that. Excited, and we'll be there as a vendor, and we will have, I'm sure, tons of samples. Looks like Brittany says, I'm struggling with vitamins, a liquid I can't handle anymore. Thanks for sharing. And Brittany, too, for those of you guys who are out there and who are maybe looking for different options, it's not a one size fits all. I'm going to share something here real quickly before we get off here. So I'm going to share my screen once more. If you go to the ProCare Health website and you've not ever tried ProCare before, there is a little button that says free samples here at the top. It's right here at the very top, and you just press free samples. And there's a short little form. So like, let's say you can't make it to the conference or you can't make it to one of these events, just click on there, try out the free sample. I'll copy this. I'll put it in the chat box here for you. So you can always get you a free sample to see if there's something that will work for you as well.
Yep.
So, ooh, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. It was an echo. Okay.
Last year we had a, and I'm so bad with the name, but we had a sponsor who was a coffee vendor, and it's like a bariatric friendly coffee, and it was awesome because I love coffee. I never liked coffee before bariatrics, and now I just love coffee. And to be able to find an alternative to having all the sugar and all the cream, it was really, really cool. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things to see.
Yeah. So is there anything in closing, Jacob, that you want to say to anybody that's here?
Yeah. In closing, I would just say, we have all, whatever your journey, wherever you're at in your journey, if you're pre-op, if you're post-op, if you're 10 years out, if you're in the stage of regain, there is plenty of resource out there. Whether you think there is or not, there's plenty of resource out there. Reach out to different groups like ours, Weight Loss Surgery Foundation of America. There's, if that doesn't fit your bill, you can reach out to other ones. I would recommend ours. But I would tell you, there's a lot of help out there, and people that are willing to talk to you or help you through some certain things. And we just, we have to kind of stick together as a community because not everybody goes through what we do. So we just all have to stick together and help each other out through this journey.
And I want to add to that, Carrie is so sweet. She actually went on to Amazon and got the link for your book. That's so incredibly nice. Thank you for doing that. I'll copy that over. So you can get Jacob's book on his website, which we listed there, or you can actually go on to Amazon and get it as well. So I just posted on both forums, our Facebook and our on there. So, and we have some comments. I just want to say, Janine Sherman, she has been at a lot of the ProCare event, like a lot of the events that we attend. She's came as kind of a patient advocate position. She's saying that, thank you for the fabulous conversation. And take care, everyone. And Violet says, thank you for all you do. And she's also saying she is from Connecticut, CT, I guess, Connecticut. And she said, my doctor was Neil Flop.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So he's a great surgeon. I mean, I've seen lots of things that he's put out there. He seems like he's very interactive with the public and that type of thing. So, so guys, that's everything that we have. We're going to be logging off here, but we want to thank you. And we hope to see you at the next WLSFA event. If you end up making it or are able to make it, come up to us, find us at the event and say hello in person. We will probably be sharing pictures and things like that after the event, I'm sure, on both WLSFA and our ProCare page. So we'll be sharing, maybe you'll be in some of those photos with us. So we look forward to it. If not, just check out the WLSFA website and see if there's other ways that you can support them, maybe sharing the information for other people. So Brittany says, thank you so much. I really want to try and make it. Thank you for everything you're doing, both of you. Thank you, Brittany.
Thanks, Brittany. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Let me see. I think